When I first came to England, I saw male nurses. And I'm like, how in the world are men becoming nurses? Because to me, that's like a nurturing industry, a nurturing environment, and men nurturing stuff. It's not, I've not seen it before. So it was a shock to walk into the NHS and I see male nurses. I'm like, what?
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Diaspora Entrepreneurs podcast. Today, it is going to be a fabulous one because what we'll be discussing today is affecting most of us, whether we like it or not. In our own subliminal way, it is affecting us. So without any much further ado, I have an amazing guest who has reached the very peak of finance. Now she has founded her own investment hub called Mojere InvestHub. She's a financial expert, over 20 years in the game, an impact investment expert as well. Right now, she specializes at the moment, she specializes on agriculture and tech. With clients all over the UK, the islands, and Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mary Funke Ipadeola in the house. Hello, Mary.
Hello, Victor, and thank you for that lovely welcome. It's lovely to be here. Thank you.
Great. So how are you today? How's it going?
Well, to me, just another end of the day, a normal work week. So just been doing a lot of more homework in getting grounded in business where we're going in the next few years coming after this pandemic. So yeah, just doing what I guess everyone else is doing now. Doing the running of the show.
Okay, great. I see that you've transitioned into more digital now. Why is this?
Well, I think it's listening to the world, listening to what the world wants, understanding what your market needs, and obviously, this is the new way forward. And to me, it's not even about the digital particularly. It's about merging the old and the new, and see how you can work better to deliver more value. See the world now needs more value in us progressing and leading a successful world. Yeah, so that's my digital understanding, and that's my new digital journey.
Yeah.
So coming from a very, very kind of traditional corporate background to swaying into this digital stuff. But actually, I am enjoying it. Yeah, I do really enjoy it.
Yeah, what's not to enjoy? This is the new normal now. We are connecting more better than ever, so it is the new normal now. You get. So, from you say you specialize in agriculture and tech. Can we just talk more about your tech background? Yeah, let's hear.
Well, I will have to. What were you going to say?
I said, let's hear your tech journey. Being inquisitive into the tech space.
Well, I have to take you back to my early days. Obviously, as you mentioned earlier, I'm coming from a financial background, delivering over 20 years of expertise in several industries. And again, it's about getting that awareness through your expertise in what's next. So to me, 5 years ago, what was next was tech. And it's about knowing more about the environment, how I can benefit my business in the environment, and as well bring value to the environment. And everything about tech actually is what we have to begin to live around. Especially when it comes to finance, you have finance tech, the new way of banking, and everything now. Any other sector is heavily and will continue to be heavily tech-based, even if it's not part of your initial process, your end user process was through technology. So that's what drove my attention to develop better understanding, delve into that sector better. But the position I took was in looking at the financial strategies and opportunities that's open to and the technology industry. So I started with startups and trying to dig in and support them up to raising funds, to scale the business. And yeah, so it's been, that's the way I bring my own expertise into technology. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we were discussing earlier on, and something that really fascinated me was that when you when you went into startups, you went into this new, very very new kind of tech, VR, which is not the everyday tech startup, and you, as with your financial expertise, you took them from, no, let me allow you to talk the story. You took them from 200 to over 2 million pounds evaluation, and you have your own sweat equity there. And let me know, can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Well, following up from what I just told you about what led me into delving into the technology sector. And one thing about me is the love for challenge. One of the quickest people you can actually meet. I am used to thinking out of the box, and I just love challenges. But what really actually drove me into looking for solutions for startups was my experience I had with my own personal consultancy, because I was consulting with other companies and generally self-employed people who's running businesses, and the path to their failures is quite frustrating, and and I also related with it as well. So to me, it's more about understanding what that sector requires of you and what your lifestyle is, about in being able to deliver that and walk along to, separate your business interests with your own personal interests. And I think most of my clients is about not understanding what the sector demands and what they need to put into it. So to me, it was like being in that environment, I can actually be a participant as well as a user, and I just really want to have a deep understanding of. So that's why I went into the virtual reality, because to me, that was the extreme end of technology. And being in the environment, although I was not involved with the software and all the kind of like technical stuff, but I was every day involved in the the strategies, the problems and the solutions, and seeing everything modeled around me and begin to understand the industry more. So that's what got me into that sector. But then again, my delivery was to bring my experience in finance, in how, because when you look at founders in the technology industry, a majority they are creative people, and so it's all about the creativity. And that's that gap there where they need somebody to come in with that extra bit where they kind of maybe cannot deliver on, and that is maybe when you look at the management and the financial side of things. So I kind of like fitted in. And for me, again, I was challenging myself as a woman, as a Black woman, of age as well. So that's that quirky part of me. Like I don't allow anything to hold me back. I just push myself forward. And you know what? It was an amazing experience. So I got involved, and yeah, the journey was not easy. It was not all my work. Obviously, you have team, you have everybody else around you. So we put all the everything in together, and yeah, it was really hard. But at the end of the day, it was a success. And yeah, the funding came through, and the company continued to progress, and you still go through that, all the time as well. So yeah, and that's my story on that side.
Yeah, that's cool. A little hard work does not hurt anyone. So you just sweat at the end of the day. But if you like what you do, you
Hmm.
just go into it at like a breeze. Yeah,
Exactly.
you spoke something about because being like a Black man and coming of age. Yeah, but because what we really be talking about, the Black woman, what we really be talking about today is about cultural biases and how, because you've been in the tech sector and the financial sector where you had lots of experience. So, and most of the deals that happens are not usually done during office hours. So, as as someone with lots of experience, how have you seen, let's talk about cultural bias. What is cultural bias?
Well,
Yeah.
cultural bias, you can tell me to mean anything that makes meaning to you. So I will not want to be general about it. From my own point of view, from my own perspective, it's how you relate to the beliefs and practices around you, and how you get involved in making that part of your life process. And that's, so which means any environment you are in, what is the culture around that environment? How do they behave? What is the expectation that you're expected to respond to, and how you respond to it, if it affects your life or not. That's when it becomes a bias. Yeah, so that is how I will sum up as a cultural bias.
Because I am from Nigeria. You too, you're from Nigeria, and we come from different cloth. So there are different stuff that, okay, imagine when I first came to England, I saw male nurses. And I'm like, how in the world are men becoming nurses? Because to me, that's like a nurturing industry, a nurturing environment, and men nurturing stuff. It's not, I've not seen it before. So it was a shock to walk into the NHS and I see male nurses. I'm like, what? So that was the cultural bias on my part on NHS workers. I salute you guys. But
Are you going to get into trouble? Yeah.
Yeah. So let's hear it from you.
You see, for me, I came from a very masculine background. Maybe I should take you slightly back to my, younger years. Growing up in Nigeria, but I have a mixed upbringing. I was growing up in the UK at the same time, because it was a case my dad was an entrepreneur, a philanthropist. And so he's got some of his businesses in Europe, and obviously Nigeria as well. And I've always moved around that way. So I've never actually stayed in one particular place. But obviously, I was brought up with a cultural background in Nigeria. But I was lucky enough. I mean, at that time, I didn't realize I was actually lucky enough to come from a very masculine background. And I didn't say masculine meaning I have all men around me. What I mean is meant was what I got involved in. I've started business with my dad's company at the age of 14. We have an accounting practice. We had about 4 casinos. We had betting offices. We have a fishing company. We have restaurants. You can name it. And that's what I knew. I didn't know what a childhood was supposed to be like. So to me, that was the environment I grew up into from. And going forward, even when I began to took charge of my own adulthood in the UK, that was what I actually pushed. My interest was just pushing me there, maybe because I was more comfortable in that environment. So it was very hard for me to see anything separate from that. So even if there's some kind of prejudice or gender, issues going on, I was not relating to it in that way. I was relating to see issues like individually, maybe, oh, you don't like me. I wasn't relating as if maybe you are a man or a woman. Although, yes, I would say I've experienced some few things in my life, even during this process, from the opposite gender. But I expected, maybe to me, it was, these are the things that happen in life. You see, it was my thinking pattern, my thinking process that was leading me. And I escaped a lot of maybe thoughts that would have actually held me back, because of that grounded thinking process. Because my dad's always said to me, you know what, whatever you want to be in life, you can get there as long as you know what you're doing, you're disciplined. And first thing is your education. No, then in Nigeria, Africa generally, is all about education. Is it that you're an accountant, or you're a lawyer, or a doctor, something like that. So, or you're an engineer, as you mentioned it. So something like that. So that was what I knew. So that gave me that masculinity environment and to grow. Actually, it was in the United Kingdom I realized, as you said earlier, men are in some certain profession, as you said, a nurse, things like that. And yeah, so but I always look at that in your the environment you are, it's a different competitive beliefs and practices in Africa, and it's a different belief and practices over here. And I think when we don't know how to separate that, that's when we kind of misinterpret, what situations going on in our lives. Yeah. So I've always been in a masculine environment, being in every sector I've engaged with is a masculine environment. I've been in environmental, I've been in textiles, I've been in technology, I work with investors, I've been in a masculine environment. And so that is, I'm comfortable there. And that's how I move. That's what pushes me. That's what interests me. As when you talk about technology as well, to me, it's not, oh, because there's men in this environment. To me, this is a challenge. This is something bigger than me. Oh, what can I do? That's the way I challenge myself and move into processes.
That's really great because it's actually it depends on individual bias, but culturally,
Yeah.
culturally when you see when you see a certain gender in another profession that is dominated by the opposite gender culturally, or for people like us from the African that has African heritage, there's some stuff that no, can you do? No, it's just a no. It's just a
Okay.
no. You
True.
get
True. And I wouldn't dismiss anyone's feeling in how they relate to cultural biases and gender differences and things like that. But I can only speak from my own experience. But saying that, I do understand other people's story as well.
yeah.
But what
Have you had any personal family intervention regards that it's on top cultural bias? You know that that was it then.
It's always been because it's the environment you grow up in that and those stories follows you. What you do with it as you get older, that's what matters. When I was growing up, I do remember then in Nigeria, our house is in a way where how you have this class system where there's some people up there and some people down there, and you live on the same street basically. So that was my story, and I'll sit on top of our house, and because we have like a upper terrace, and I'll just look. And I was just like 12, 13 years old. I'll look at my environment and I see the injustice, within families, within, with everything. And that I ask a lot of questions, although I don't have answers. I ask a lot of questions to myself like, this is not fair. I know this is not, that's what I used to say to myself, And so to me, it's like anything I've seen that time growing up, that's what I want to eradicate. I don't want that around me. And I try as much as I can to live outside of that zone. So yes, I do expect that there's some people in my family or environments, that would not understand me, because, and I don't expect them to relate to that either. But that's from the childhood, I've seen an injustice, which I am against. And my aim is not to allow that to dictate how I behave, how I practice, what I do. So that's how I dealt with it in
Yeah,
my own story. So that's how I dealt with it. Yeah.
yeah, because so many people get hung on this cultural bias,
Yeah.
and they don't move forward. They don't progress, even as professional um, in their field, experts in their field.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll say, you know what, it would be unfair to say that's a typical way to address it. I would rather want to believe that I was lucky because of my background, being the type of mentality my parent had, which is quite very, very educationally based, very aware and open-minded, and we were given the freedom, to just explore. I mean, it was six of us and five girls and one boy. So to me, my dad had a lot of challenge. Can you imagine having that kind of setup in Nigeria? So the first thing you want to do is protect your girls. But in his own mind, I think what he was trying to do is build a value where you have the pride to approach life and stand on your own. So that's the way I see it. So anything cultural I was not formed in that system at home. We were allowed to speak our mind. You were allowed to eat what you want to eat. If you're not agree with something, it's okay. But I do see other people in the same environment that struggle to have that freedom of being a child, freedom of being whoever, because of the practices, in that environment that dictates how they should live their lives. So I really do understand from that area. So I'm not trying to say here, oh, we should all just move on and, what you don't like, don't do it. No, I know a lot, even till today, a lot of adults struggle with that. But what I'm trying to say here is, as you get older, as a child, you really struggle with a lot of things. But as you get older, I think keeping your mind open, being more aware, you'll be able to now decide what is around you that you don't want to be part of. And that's what I did. And even till today, I will still have in my community people that don't get me. But to me, it's about me, because I know the values I want. I know what I want to release to the world, and if a cultural belief will hold me back, that's it, we're going to have issues. And when we talk about cultural beliefs and biases, I don't want us to look at, maybe your home environment alone or your set of your people. It could happen at work. It could be a work an organizational structure, and how you can relate to it. Maybe it's not a fair system, or they have a certain way of organization practices within that culture that you don't relate to. And so if that's the case, and it's only through awareness as well, and finding who you are, knowing who you are as a person and what you want out of life, that you'll be able to now decide, do I want to be part of this, or should I move forward, or how can I make this better? Because what I do now, rather than saying, oh no, I don't want to be part of that, I try to educate people around me and let them understand, I get why you're like this, yeah, but I'm not like that, and this is why I'm like this. So it's more about now education, and rather than making judgments.
Yeah, cool. Cool. That's great. Because for if you if you're facing or you're being too judgmental, because it is this expectation that if you are too ambitious as a woman in a male dominated environment or a male dominated sector, like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this right now, you shouldn't be doing that, you shouldn't be doing this, you should be here at this time, you should be there at this time, you should be. But I found out that most of the people that say you should be doing this, you should be doing this, are wishing that they can do what you're doing.
Yeah, and I come to understand as well that a lot of people are seeing the process of finding themselves. So you have to be really careful and clever enough not to allow their judgment to determine where you're going. You should be this or that. I still get that today. The other day, I was speaking to somebody trying to encourage them out of this now going post this pandemic, what we should be doing and stuff like that. And the first thing, I heard was, why are you so ambitious? Are you not tired of this now? And do you understand what I mean? But I'm not going to get upset. I do understand, because that person has never been addressed their challenges in life. They are on a different level. We are at a different stage. What that message is saying to me is, this is not your clique. This is not, everything in life, you have to have a level.
Yeah.
You understand? Because
That's,
we don't,
that's
you
your
could
clique.
be, yeah. Yeah, and it could be the other way, where you are a bit far away as well from other people's expectations, or of how they want to live their life. So that's why I will leave that, not judging that person and saying, oh, you're horrible to me. But that is as far as you can understand as far as you can process. And that's all it is. So I try not to make it personal. And I think that's why I've been successful in every um, network of connections I've had over the years, because obviously you will have different type of people come to you or, like confront you with things, and you can easily put it to, oh, because I'm a woman, or because I'm black and all that. It's healthier for me to say this person. I want to relate to that person. This person is not my game, and that's it. You're out. That's the way I process life.
And it's kind of limiting because that will say people like us don't do things like this. People from here don't do things like that. So you kind of like limit yourself. You just cap your own ability to like progress to the highest level that you can because of
Yeah.
that cultural expectation that has been drilled into your head to say that, oh, people like me cannot do things like that. Who said that?
Mm, mm,
Yes.
yeah. And again, I also want to give that freedom. If you believe so much in your cultural beliefs, and whatever happens in that environment, and you decide to allow that to be your language, that's okay. What I will not allow is when you want to control me and drag me into that. Do you understand? So that's
Yeah.
how I see things every single day, and it's helping me to really focus on the value I want to deliver. Because I see, our representation in the world to be beyond yourself. We need to start thinking beyond our immediate family, because we are part of an environment. You're part of a nation. You're part of the breathing of the, you have the trees and the water and everything that keeps us together. You're part of that process, and it'll be very, very unfair of you to not look for a way you can be a contributor, rather than keeping the focus on yourself and say, okay, this is my culture, this is what we believe, and this is what I'm going to do about it. When you have an open mind and see yourself from the point of a contributor, you begin to view the world differently. And then you can, address issues on a much more productive, sustainable way. And that's how I bring my children up as well, to begin to see life that way.
Okay, that's cool. We've dived deep into that. Now let's shift now into business. Now let's just touch on some business points. And what's your main focus right now?
Well, a lot to do. Building the investment platform, just making sure that the awareness is out there. We need to look for how we work together more in developing our economy. Everybody needs to be a participant in growing the economy further, especially now where we've had this crisis, and then fortunately, governments of countries have kind of dipped in and supported the people as much as they can. But what we need to understand as people, and this is one of the education and awareness and to bring out, is the position of the economy, that the government cannot continue, to come in and bail out all the time, because you know what, the fund is not there. As an economy, especially in the UK, we cannot continue to rely on QE, to bail us out. So as entrepreneurs, as people, as individuals, what can we begin to do in line with our business so that we make sure we are contributing to, building a better economy, a much more sustainable economy. And if you don't build your own economy, you cannot do that. You understand what I mean? You cannot do that. So how can you build your own economy, making sure your finances are okay in a way that you are secure enough, you are well diversified in what you do when it comes to your investment, when it comes to the position you place your business, and things like that, and your own personal life as well, your lifestyle. And so when we are healthy in our own financial economy, then you have that too, that some you can push in, because I believe it's not only about shouting, and
Oh,
we need money, and
yeah.
that is final. no matter how we want to relate on like humanitarian grounds, and nothing will happen without money. And that's one of my focus. That's one of my deliveries in within the next couple of months, on allowing people to participate in that type of building that type of financial economy in their business and in their lives, and through finance and through business positioning. Yeah, so that's my homework in the next couple of months.
Yeah, that is great. That is great. And Mary, it's been an honor to have you here on my podcast to talk about something very personal. I know you're all business, 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 but sharing.
It's in my, as I say, it's in your DNA. It's in my DNA, and
Yeah,
I really don't know anything else.
yeah, because entrepreneurship business is kind of like just like you. I grew up in a family. My dad was an entrepreneur, businessman. My mom as well, a businesswoman. So I was born into this. So sometimes when I keep talking about this, it's like second nature to me. It's like natural stuff to me. I grew up seeing people coming to our house, our family compound, going to the factory, going to the sawmill plant, seeing caretakers of buildings. They come and they go, and like so that has been my own upbringing. So and I really enjoyed it.
Mm,
Yeah. So
basically, yeah.
there's no two ways about it. And
Mm.
it is fun being an entrepreneur anyways. It has its moments.
I was going to say it's hard, but it's fun in the. You
Yeah.
have to just enjoy what you do. If you are focused on getting the best out of what you do,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
easier to deal with the failures. I
Yep.
mean, I've failed in things countless of time. I've failure, in different areas of my businesses, and I have success stories as well. But because I enjoy what I do, you know, I see the value I want to bring, even though maybe you're not there yet, but you can just see. That's what I talk about expectation. What is your expectation, out of life? And that's the only way. And even if you are an employee, it doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
where you want to come, from. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. How do you contribute to that company? What's the value? And those are the things that will really ground you in dealing with matters arising like cultural biases, and you begin to have a, like open mind,
Yep.
because you have an expectation for yourself where you're going. So when you have situations coming in front of you, you are more open-minded in addressing it, because you're at that moment it's about where you're going. So you identify what is negative, what is positive, that is, along the way, this journey where you're going, and decide how you address it, rather than generalizing because everybody's saying this thing and I have to think that way as well. That's the way I relate to life.
Yeah, you said something very, very interesting just now regards even though you are still working. See, entrepreneurship to me is like it's about creating value.
Yeah, it's specifically.
Yeah, you create a value. So if you are employed and you really, really like your job, just look at ways to like create value inside within your employment, and you become so valuable, become an asset. So during this time that they are laying people off, you know that definitely you're not going anywhere. And moreover, if they let you go, someone is there who's going to snatch you up immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And as my father always used to say to me, um, never leave anywhere without the room to go back and say hello.
oh yeah.
And that is my motto. Anything, organizations, companies, clients, my own personal clients I've dealt with, the room's always open to say hello.
Great, great, great. Anyways, thank you very much, Mary, for being part of the show again. And I'm grateful for you to be here. And yeah, you spoke about what's going on in the next 90 days.
Well, I've got in the next couple of days. I'll send you the link, and you can share that with us. Also, people can look through my social media. I'm on LinkedIn as Mary Ipadeola. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Mojere InvestHub. And I've got a webinar, just an intro of what we need to focus on, in the new pandemic, and how to encourage entrepreneurs and startups as well looking to delve into business, and how to better prepare and position for financial opportunities in this environment. So I have a webinar coming up in the next couple of days.
Oh, okay. So you share that with us, and we share it along with our listeners. So yeah. So you see, she's got something coming up in the next couple of days. You can dive in and really enjoy yourself. Know how to position yourself for financial gains, so financial collaboration, as she always says, financial collaboration. So
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mary. It has been a wonderful conversation with you.
It's a pleasure as well. Thanks for having me.
So thank you very much for being part of the show. We really appreciate you here. Listen, we all have ideas and visions of how we see our lives, our enterprise. But without strategic moves, it will remain a pipe dream. As an accountability coach and your success partner, I help and support my clients to build their dream business or their dream lifestyle and make it a reality. So talk to me today, no matter how crazy your business vision is or how crazy your ideas are, we can build structure to make it a reality. So send me an email or click the link below to talk about your ideas now. It is your dream. It came to you for a reason. So be responsible because the world is waiting for you to act. Thank you. Until next time, this is Victor Osio. Be great.